Okay, we are now live on Facebook and Team Transformers, and we are recording this. And you know, these recordings go on to Team Transformers on YouTube. So if you ever are driving or whatever, and you want to just go on YouTube and click Team Transformers. Okay, I had a really good question somebody asked today. So I'm going to start off with that, and then we're going to go to Stacey in just a few minutes. But also, you guys, this is really about you this time together. So make sure you're asking the questions in the chat, interacting, things like that. And that way you're getting the most out of the lunch and learn. You have burning questions. So somebody's wondering why they had a really good paycheck one month and then their paycheck went down the next month. Okay, so when you're kind of new and just getting customers, your paycheck will be uneven. Okay, it's going to go with how many customers you got that month. So this person probably sold a Tower Garden, maybe a couple new orders. Anytime it's a new order or it's a Tower Garden, you get all sales profit up front. Okay, so it can make for like a jump in your paycheck. It's going to be a jump if you sell a Tower Garden anyway, because we make a lot more sales profit now on Tower Gardens. But also if you have new orders 1 month, but you don't the next month, and you're new, then your paycheck will be going up and down. Once you have an established customer base or you have an established business, then your paycheck becomes very regular. Okay, like ours doesn't go up and down very much. And so, you know, over time, you'll be able to build a very steady, solid income that you can count on. But when you're new, it could fluctuate with sales profits. So again, sales profit is paid upfront on new orders or on Tower Garden orders, because those are new also. And that's sales profit. There's 5 different ways of making income with Juice Plus. That's just one. So also if you're new, you might only be tapping into that one way. And so that's why your paycheck is also, you know, going to be a little more unsteady till you are able to tap into those other parts. Okay, I hope that helps just a little bit. I know that doesn't explain everything, but you can also look at your earnings statement under personal file for any of the months that you want to look at. And it doesn't pop up until like a while after our paychecks come out. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that this is an awesome way to create income for yourself over time, but you've got to build it. You've got to build it. And so speaking of which, we got Stacey on the line today, and she is our special guest of honor today. She's going to share her business story, what this Juice Plus business has done for her, how she's worked it as a busy mom of three little ones. And I met Stacey at a trade show, and I knew right away she was going to be #1 on my list because we hit it off. And oh, that mister's really coming at me. I've got the mister coming. Anyway, we hit it off. We had a lot in common, and she had offered to me that I could come and speak at one of the MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. So there were a lot of reasons why she was at the top of my list. I had 30 leads that day. It was a big event. It actually went over a couple days, and I put a huge star, and I called her, and I called her, and I called her, and she said all the right things in the beginning, and she never said no or stopped bothering me. She just said things that I then had to overcome her objections. So over time, I was able to do that and also overcome her husband's objections. And so now she's a national marketing director. It didn't go from that to national marketing director. Obviously, there was a lot of work in between, a lot of personal growth, things like that. So I'm excited for Stacey to share because I've seen all that progress over all these years. It's so amazing. And I know, Stacey, I have heard from so many people, you are one of the most loved contributors here, that they want to hear from you. So I'm excited to have you talk, and I'm muting everybody, and you can unmute yourself, and I'm going to spotlight your video. Thanks, Stace.
Oh, you're welcome, Sharon. Thank you guys. And I love being here with all of you. It's fun, you know, through the years, getting to know your team and just getting to see their faces here on on Zoom when we usually get to see each other at conference and things like that. But Sharon and I lived in South Florida, and that's part of the journey started there. And Sharon was very persistent, and I was very thankful. I was interested. I just didn't know enough to say yes right away. It was a paradigm shift in my mind for sure. And I needed help coming to the point where I understood what fruits and vegetables could do for my body. And Sharon was really good about helping to educate us. And that was the next step. It was always another piece of information, another educational exposure. And she just didn't leave me where I was. So eternally grateful for you, Sharon. We've become good friends. It's been fun to watch her advancement, and her success made me believe I could do it too. And so I hope that maybe that will transfer to you guys with my story as well. So I did have one little, at the time, he was 15 months old. And then I used Juice Plus as my prenatal with both of our next two girls. So when my third was born, my first was 3. So I had 3 and under for a couple of months. So life was busy, right? I said yes to the business simply because I wanted to get some more money back on Juice Plus, but I explicitly told my husband I was not going to be the Juice Plus lady, and I did not want anything to distract me. I wanted to be stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be present with my kids, and I quickly found I loved the education. I loved what I was learning. I wanted to tell other people. I loved the education and being able to step into somebody else's life and teach them and encourage them. And it just kind of grew on me, this passion for fruits and vegetables as our health got better. And then I got to see I was helping other people. I like a challenge. And so I would tell Sharon, okay, what's next? And she would say, do this. You need 4 more customers. Okay, I would do that. I would get those customers. And then, okay, what's next? All right, you need, this many more. Okay, what's next? And I just kept saying, like, what's next? What's next? And I was willing to do hard things. I had my son, we didn't have any family around. My husband was working, he was in the Air Force, and I had a neighbor watch my son for 2 hours, 2 different days a week. And I would drive to a chiropractor's office that was open to me doing an event or set up a table in her office. I just set up in the corner, and as her patients came in, I asked them if they had heard about Juice Plus. Now, guys, I was like a month into this, like maybe 2 months, because she helped me get to sales coordinator as a VF. So maybe 3 months into it, I don't even know. But I was new. I didn't really know everything, but I did know more than they knew if they knew nothing. So that's kind of what I stuck in, kept in my head, and I just would pass along the information. But I did hard things like that. I learned how to do a presentation so I could do it for my sister and her family and her friends. I was in the business 2 months, and I was presenting myself. So there's something to be said about that. Are you willing to do the hard things? It's easy to rely on your upline to do those things for you. But 6 months later, I moved to Montgomery, Alabama. What if I had not built some of those skill sets in and just let Sharon do all of it for me? I learned from her. I wanted her to be the example. And then I did what she did. She did it way better than I did, right? Like, she had years of experience. I had very little, but I still did good. And then I got better and I got better. So when I moved to Montgomery, Alabama, I knew nobody. I didn't have any support system. There wasn't anyone else that I knew of that was doing Juice Plus. I was pregnant with our second, and then she was born, and 18 months later, I had baby number 3. I mean, seriously, guys, at that point, I was just trying to tread water and keep my head above the edge, because it was difficult with little ones. My husband had his own internet business by then. He'd gotten out of the military. We moved to northern New Mexico, which is where we were from. We bought this beautiful house. His internet business was doing so good and had been, solid for a good 2 years. And we were excited to be back with family, and just thought this is where we were going to grow old together, and our kids would grow up near my sister and family. And just 2 months after, we had moved there. So we bought this house, and I remember Jarrett walked into the kitchen, and he was like white. His face was white, and he said, "It's over." And I remember thinking, oh gosh, what did I do? Like, I'm over, we're over, like, what's over? And he said, like, my business is over. I got an email last night, and they cut me out of the pay structure. He was working with Google AdSense. And we were just like, kind of in shock, like, what do we do? We just bought this house and moved our family across country, and like, what are we going to do? And I remember he was sort of in panic mode, and he said, we could have to foreclose on this house. And I remember just thinking, people above me have done well with this business, and I know I can make money. By that time, I was making about $750 a month with Juice Plus, and I was just barely doing the basics. I had done a lot of work at the beginning that had built some stability, that had helped me have, enough team members that could keep me going as we moved. And I thought, I can do this. And I hit my hand on the table and I said, no, this is my house. I'm not losing this house. We will not foreclose on it. I will pay for this mortgage. And that seriously got me moving forward. I knew I was limited with my time because I had 3 little ones, and I knew I couldn't do it by myself. And so I got really serious about doing business activity that would bring me team members. So as many health presentations as I did that many business presentations as well, and just inviting people to come along. And I was a part of different activities. I was the leader of a MOPS, a Mothers of Preschoolers group, because I wanted to be in front of other moms. I wanted to practice leadership. I wanted them to see me in a role of leadership, and I knew that would transfer well to business. I was strategic about the activity that I did and what I did. So all that to say, we're just going to kind of skip forward. We did not lose the house. I was able to make that mortgage payment. I went from sales coordinator to QNMD in that 3 years. And so I do remember thinking, I can do this business. My kids are older now, which makes me laugh because Brielle was 18 months and Ansley was 2.5 and Colin was 5. And I was like, I can do this. And the kids are older now. So I've done this business with tiny ones. I've done this all the way through elementary school. 3 years later, we moved back to Alabama. So we had moved again. I've homeschooled the kids. They've been in private school that I was able to, use my Juice Plus paycheck to help pay for, and they've been in public school. We've been in all of those. We were in Alabama for 8 years. That's where I made national marketing director. And I had somebody told me the first time we moved away from Alabama, she said, it's a good thing that you've moved from Alabama, because nobody from Alabama will be a national marketing director. And I was like, watch, I'll be a national marketing director from Alabama. And it was like, it made me mad that she would say that, because I don't know why she said that. She's still sales coordinator 19 years later. So keep that in mind. And so I was like, yes, I will do it. And I did. I made national marketing director. There was one other NMD in Alabama when I made it. So I was excited about that. So that year that I made national marketing director, we adopted 2 teenage girls from Ukraine. The hardest year of my whole life emotionally, and what that did to my self-confidence. It was rough. When I say hardest year, I mean that in so many levels, relationally, but really just mentally, what it did to my confidence level because of the trauma the girls had lived through and helping them to try to assimilate into our life. And that year is when I made national marketing director, which was totally a gift from God. I know for sure that it was. And we lived there in Alabama for 8 years total. And then we moved now to southern New Mexico, so a different part of the state than we had been in before. My husband took over his dad's business. So now we have teenagers. They are 18, 15, and 18, 16, and almost 15. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just want you to know, like, I've been there. I've been through littles. I've been through moves. I've been through trauma or very difficult things. We've been through job loss. And we have this amazing, beautiful house that we just moved into. And because I had steady income, that helped us. I'm able to provide insurance through Juice Plus, and my husband has his own business. We would pay $1,200 a month at least if he was buying insurance privately, and I pay about $250 a month for insurance through Juice Plus for our family of 5. So if anything from that, I just want you to know you can do it, but you're going to have to fight for it. And there's times when the fight has to get serious. For me, that was, different times when the kids were so little and I didn't have hours in the day to build like I do now. I mean, my teenagers are still sleeping. It's 10:16. They're all still asleep. And I will have to go wake them up in a couple of hours. Like they stay up late talking, which is great, but they sleep in. I get up, but it's just funny. So, you're going to have to fight for that. When they were little, when we were possibly going to lose our house, when life was stressful, of a new move, of not knowing anybody, it would have been easy to say, I don't know anybody. I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't have any warm market here. How do you get out and be the Juice Plus lady without being the Juice Plus lady that everyone's like, oh, here comes the Juice Plus lady? Like, that was always a fear of mine. How about in that year of adoption? Like, you don't think I had to fight for that? I built a closet on the back of our house. It was like a storage closet, and I transformed that into into an office. It had the water heater on. If somebody took a shower in the water heater turned on, I had to open the door because I would get gassed out. I had to have a space that I could go to and dedicate time to this. And really, it's what saved me mentally that year, because I knew I could be good at Juice Plus. I knew I had a team and customers that needed me and wanted my help. And it was where I could go to find stability when I felt like everything else was chaos. And, when we've moved the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time, like, you have to fight for it. So really having a strong why that is going to change, it does change. When I first started, it was to offset my cost. That was my why. Then I really just wanted to help other people. But then I started to get the vision that this could be something bigger than that. What if this was more? What could that look like? What could it look like if I stayed home with my kids full time, but also had a significant income to bring into the family? What would that be like? What if I could get insurance for us? What would that look like long term that would give me flexibility to even be with my grandkids someday? Like, I was thinking this at 24 years old. So, it's that why is going to change over time, but you still have to know the reason why you're going to do it. Because if you think that this business is just going to happen over time, or the right people are just going to kind of fall into your lap, and if you could just, what's the whole list of things? If I just had more time, I could do this business. If my team worked better, or if I could get my team to work, I could do this business. If I had friends that had money, I could do this business. If I had a supportive spouse, I could do this business better. If the weather was better, I could do this business. Like, we can come up with all of the reasons why we can't, but you have to know what's your reason right now that's going to make you do this DMO activity. What's the reason in your heart right now? And that's going to change over time, because it just does. It evolves, it moves along. But right now, what's going to make you do the activity that you don't really want to do? Because nobody's going to say, Cynthia, did you do that work today? Have you been making those calls? Darby, did you get on that event last night? Stephanie, did you follow up and let your customers know that their orders are going to be shipping? We don't have a boss. We are our own boss, and nothing happens if we don't do it, right? Like, if you don't get on the call, nothing happens. You don't get a reprimand. You don't get a letter for not being at conference from, somebody saying, why weren't you there? The most immediate thing is a customer's order ships without you saying, and they're probably not going to cancel if you do it one time and let it ship without them saying. It's going to compound, and you'll lose customers over time. It's the compound effect of not doing the activity that you don't see right now, but it's also the compound effect of doing the activity that you don't see right now. And that's this weird place. Like, you're going to see the results 3 months later, whether you're doing work or you're not doing work, whether you're doing the activity or you're not. If you're not doing the activity, 3 months down the road, it's going to look like this. You're discouraged, you feel disconnected, you feel like you're out of the loop, you've got customers canceling, and you don't have new people coming in. Does that sound fun? I don't want any of those. I don't like the idea of any of those. So if I'm not working now, that's what's going to happen 4 months from now. But if I am working now, if I am doing the DMO and I'm talking 30 minutes of consistent activity a day, I'm not talking hours, just being consistent, then you're going to see, 3 months from now, you've got new customers and you've got customers that cancel. It's just part of it, guys. It just is. It's part of business. Don't get too serious about that. They'll come back. I'm getting customers that have canceled years ago coming back. So just trust that if you stay in line, they're going to know which line to come back to get in with you. So you're going to start seeing you're getting customers. Even if you're losing some, it doesn't hurt so bad because you've got new ones. You're going to have a new team member that's ready to do something, even if they're just excited to share with their family or make some money back on their own orders. A team member is a team member, right? Like, that's exciting. You're going to have new conversations going, and you're going to have lots of people to follow up with. There's momentum that has been built. That's what we want 3 months from now. So think in the end of August, what do I want to have happening in my business? Not just like, I want to be at this title. We get stuck on titles, but if your paycheck is growing, what do we care what the title is? Like, it's just something to tout to other people. It's just a title. Like, I think I'm an international marketing director now. I don't even care. Like, I'm just thankful for a national marketing director. I know how hard I worked for that one. But if you're progressing, just trust that it's going to keep working. If your paycheck is growing, then what you're doing is working, and just keep moving from there. So where do you want to be in August? What's that going to look like in the summer to help you get there? Because it's a different ballgame. Like, we've kind of been in summer since March because of the whole lockdown and having to be inside. So we want out, right? Now that things are starting to open up, you can start doing events and having people over, and doing salad jar events, depending on what state you're in. And just, and the comfort level of the people around you. But now we can start having people over and interacting more in person. And I guarantee you, people are kind of tired of Zooms. They had to do them for work. They had to do them for those type of things. They want to be in person. So be the place that brings them together in a positive way. And then just knowing your schedule is going to look different if you have little kids at home. It has looked different for the last couple of months, right? Like, they're wanting things, they need things from you, they're asking you questions, they never go away. As that mom in the closet, I don't know if you guys have seen that funny little video, she says, I love them, but they never go away. And she looks under the door and her little girl says, hi, Mom. And she says, see? She's always there. She's always there. And it kind of feels that way. So how do you carve out some time? I know one of the things I did when my kids were little is I had little blocks of time that I could do activity while they were distracted with something else. So I had my DMO sheet filled out. I knew who I was going to call. I wasn't reactively putting people's names on there. I took time Sunday night. I wrote it out, who I was going to contact, and then I would just highlight them when I was done. So I could get 2 calls done in 15 minutes or less. And I would just say, hey, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to invite you to this event. Bam. Like, I was on the phone a lot. We didn't have text. I know this, I'm dating myself. Texting wasn't there. We didn't have Facebook when I got to, when I was working those 3 years to QNMD. And so it was talking on the phone a lot, and I just got on, got off, got on, got off, got on, got off, and I got it done. And then at the end of the week, I had this whole sheet, and I was like, look, I did this. How did I even get all of this accomplished? And it worked. And so, finding time to carve away just a little bit, and then knowing what you're going to do during that activity. And then also, there were many times where I would stay up till 2:00 at night working because nobody was distracting me. Nobody was talking to me. Nobody was needing to call me. My kids weren't needing me. I could just get work done that I didn't have to be on the phone. So I did the phone calls during the day, and then the rest of the work I did at night. So you could do like Facebook posting. You don't have to do it during the day. You don't have to check messages. You don't have to comment during the day. Wait to do that at night. If you've got littles, after they're in bed, do the things that are going to get you into conversations with people, talking to people. Do that first during the day, because the Facebook commenting and posting, that's going to distract you. It will. You'll lose 30 minutes of time easily just because you get sucked into this post and that and this comment or whatever. So make sure you've got your time planned out, and then use your time wisely. And then the last thing I will leave for those of you with littles is I bought an inflatable water slide one year. And it was like a big water slide that had almost like a rock wall type thing that the kids could climb up and slide down. And it was just a pool with a little bit of water. And I had it out the window where I could see them. They played for hours on that thing, for months, because even if it was too cold for water, they would just climb up and slide down and climb up and slide down. So they were probably 2.5, 5, and 8. I think that would have been the ages. And it was just, they played for hours. That was like the best $300 I've ever invested. And I looked on Amazon for you guys. They're $400 now. So in 15 years, 14 years, they've increased by $100. It's the best investment I ever made. It totally paid me off paid for itself. So finding ways to really, distract your kids to where they're having fun and doing things besides just watching TV or on their phone. And then what's the gain? What's the family gain from doing this? Because your kids need to know your why as well. They had to know that when I was talking on the phone, I wasn't just chatting with a friend. I was working a business. And my son used to tell me, why can't you just have a job like other moms and like go to work? And like, why do you have to do this? And I remember he was frustrated. Guys, now he's 18 and he has his own business. And he's referring books to me. Hey, mom, you should read this book. This is a really good one. Like things that he didn't understand, he gets it. He's on Zoom more than I'm on Zoom. And we talk Zoom. Like, it's just funny. So they learn from what you're doing. Don't think that this business is going to take away from them. It's adding so much to them. The mindset that you have is going to transfer to them. The personal growth that you go through is going to go to them because you're going to have conversations with them. I'm training my girls. Someday they could be national marketing directors easily. They hear me on coaching calls and Voxer. Like they could do the presentation, which they have before. They could answer my Voxer questions just from the experience that they've seen me as I'm living life and I'm doing this business. And it's an interesting, it's not a job where you go to a job, it has set hours, you leave and you come home. It's like you weave it into your life and you find a way to integrate it just in what you do. And the faster you can get okay with that and that your family knows why you're doing it, the easier it is going to be to continue long term with this. And that's really where the success is. So I encourage you to fight for this. You're going to have to fight your time. You're going to have to fight your mindset. You're going to have to fight your schedule. It gets easier over time to do that as your skill set builds, but it's worth it. Like it's so worth it on this side. I'm just very, very thankful that somehow my 24-year-old self knew to say yes to Juice Plus and said yes to the business, and that I've just kept saying yes over and over again. So thank you, Sharon, for letting me share. I hope that was helpful to you guys. And if you've got questions, let's answer.
People are blowing up the chat about you. I mean, now's the time, guys. Ask her. You can unmute one at a time. Ask her some questions. When you said that about the kids, I just want to say, I'm a beach girl. So I've always thought with the kids, it's like swimming against the waves. It's really, really hard, but you've got to do it. You got to swim against the waves and it's worth it. So when you're saying fight for it, that's what I'm thinking. It's definitely worth fighting for. It's like getting crashed on the wave and then get back up, crashed on the wave, get back up, because you're going to get distracted with the kids and stuff, but you got to get right back to it. Okay, yeah. Let's hear some questions from some people. I'll turn off your spotlight.
I have a quick question. Thank you so much for that. That was amazing.
Yes.
Really, really inspiring. My question is, when you, as far as reaching out to people, did you mainly do events, or you said you didn't have Facebook and everything at the beginning, but did you reach out to people that you didn't know through like different sources like Facebook or Instagram, stuff like that?
Well, I would say like when the kids were younger and before we had Facebook, and I will say this even now though, I work from home, but I don't work at home. Most of the time I'm out and about. I've got a recording that we can get to you guys, and I did three. One, like connecting with people. How do you connect with people? Because every time I move, that changes, right? I know nobody in the new place. I've got to establish myself and build relationships and build connections and friendships and meet people. So it kind of looks different each time we've moved, or different places. Sometimes at booths that works. You just have to know you're going to talk to a lot of people, and you get like one or two that are those strong conversations that you have, like Sharon said. Um, to give you an example, well, I was, like I said, I was really involved in things. So during that 3 years that I went from sales coordinator to QNMD, I was the leader of the MOPS group for our town. So I was in charge of the meetings. I was in charge of the steering team that I had. We went to the other MOPS meeting that was about an hour away because I wanted to meet the moms that were in that. I led a women's Bible study at our church. I volunteered at different things. Like, yes, I had little kids, but I was involved. Like, I was doing other things, because that's where you're going to meet people. That's where you're going to have conversations. When we moved here, my kids were older. So it's not like I could say, hey, I met this mom. Would you like to come over for a play date? Like, they're teenagers. That's just weird. So I would say, okay, girls, I need a new friend. Or to my son, I need a friend. Who's somebody you've been hanging out with, or that you've met at school that you think I might be friends with, or that I might like to hang out with their mom? And so they would think, and they would say, okay, Kenzie, I think you would like Kenzie's mom. And then I'd say, okay, get me Kenzie's mom's name and number, and I'll contact her. And I did. I just had to be brave and bold. And I would send her a message and say, hey, Brielle and Kenzie have been hanging out at school. We're new to the area. I'm just trying to meet other moms and make some friends. I would love to go out to lunch sometime. What do you think? And they would say yes. Like, they would say yes. And then I would say, awesome. What do you have this week? And we would either go for coffee or lunch. Like, if you ask people, what does Stacey do around here? They're like, she goes to eat lunch and she goes to coffee. So I was out, I was interacting with people. And then I started a mom's group to where I could meet people here younger than me and serve people. Like, I wanted them to see my heart and to know that I care about people. In what ways can I interact with the community that shows that I'm a connector of people, and that that I do have integrity, and that I do want to serve others. And so it's getting out, and then things happen on Facebook by posting, being in different groups, starting different Facebook groups. But I have a whole training on that. I think it's like 7 minutes. It's not super long, but we can make sure we put that in the Team Transformers.
So I think that I've seen Stacey do this. She was definitely leading some things before I even came into the picture. And she put me off because she wanted to clear some of those things away before she started in January. Because we met in November and we went through the objections, and she got on fire by November something, because then she was going to share with the family the VHS tape that I had sent her. And so she already kind of lined up some people even. And then it was like January 6th. She's like, all right, I got rid of some of those things, but now I'm going to focus. And she did. And, it's not like it was totally easy for her. She had to go through learning all along the way, but she definitely was already a leader. And then she's always thinking of, how can I be somebody that people turn to? So she's got like this group called Parvo. I don't know if you even have any customers from that, but because she has something on her hands that other people have, she's created a group for that, and that's a way to bring in cold market people. And all of you have a niche of some sort that you can do a group and people will turn to you too, So everybody's got to think of their own way. She was a leader in MOPS, but you can be a leader in something, something different. It doesn't have to be like Stacey. But I think that the thing is, she always was, somebody wrote it in here, strategic. She does do what she wants to do, but she also understands that living her life doesn't have to be different than doing the Juice Plus business. It all is intertwined. Right, Stace? I mean, it's part of your identity at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so I think eventually we'll move to any tips from other people. Like I want to hear from Sandy because she's always traveling. So, you know, maybe we will get to travel this summer. I think some people will, right? You guys got to try to travel somehow. So we'll hear maybe from Sandy. She doesn't know that, but I just called on her. And then, because she's really good about that, and how she does the business on the fly. I mean, she's participated in Zooms and things on a cruise ship. It's crazy. But Stacey, let's give some more advice to the people who need, number one, confidence. They probably feel like, oh, I need to wait till I feel confident in this, confident in that, confident in that. Should I wait, you know, till that all of a sudden arrives? That's one thing. I don't mean to downplay it, you guys. Sorry, I'm just being facetious. Okay, and then the second thing is, I'm sure they would love to increase their paycheck. What is your best advice for that? So those two things, if you don't mind.
Okay, so say the first one again.
Confidence.
Okay, confidence comes from doing. A paycheck comes from doing. Like, there you go. You have to do, you have to work, you have to have the conversations, and it's the consistency over time. As you consistently do it, you're going to build your confidence. And then you find people that are better at things than you are, that have a better circle of influence and friends. You know, when we moved here, I was listening, whose name kept coming up? Like who's, like in different conversations was I having, you know, whose name did I start hearing that seemed like that they were a connector and somebody who knew a lot of people? Then I just started making lunch dates with them. I would reach out to them. So, you know, confidence is going to come from doing. As you do it, you're building that muscle. Same thing as exercise. Does it hurt when you start exercising? Yeah, you're going to be sore, right? But it's in the soreness that you know it's working and you actually, you know, we're doing activity that works. So are you out of your comfort zone? Then you know you're on the right track. Are you like, I don't know about this, like, I don't know if I can do this, then you're on the right track. If you're like, this is totally stretching me and this is going to be hard and I need to study this and I need to know the research to be able to, you know, speak just, you know, even a couple of sentences about it confidently, you know you're on the right track. So it's going to be in doing, and it's that continuous activity, not the start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. That will wear you out. And you always feel like you're trying to catch up or you're trying to get back in the loop or that you're behind, and it's not fun. And in that stop, you lose the momentum of the conversations you had before. Then you have to try to start getting those going again. And you're always having to like psych yourself up for doing activity, and that will wear you out. It'll wear you out and it wears your upline out because they don't know, like, when do I encourage and when do I back off? Like if they've backed off, do I step in and really encourage them now? But if they're not responding, you don't want to be the pest. Like it's a dance that is hard to dance with someone that's consistently doing effort. You're going to grow, your skill set's going to grow, your mindset's going to change. You're going to get all of those things that you're wanting, but it's from doing. And you can make 1,000 excuses and they're all really good. Like you guys could tell me some really good excuses and I'd be like, yeah, you're right. Like, just, you're out. Like, I totally get it. Like, yeah, you have no reason to be doing this right now. Or I could turn it back around and say, you're right. That's exactly why you need to be doing this right now. Your husband just lost his job. That's exactly why you need to be investing in this and going to conference or going to a boot camp or whatever. Like, there can always be the excuse, but that excuse can really be the why that drives you forward too. And just be patient with that process. If you're not growing, ask yourself, like, one of the big things, are you doing your own events? Like, you're the speaker, you're inviting to it, it's your event, like you're responsible for that event. There's a lot of learning that comes with that. It's a lot of leadership that comes with that. It's engaging with people in conversation. It's learning the material so that you can teach it. It's like one of the main things I would say that helps move my team members forward. When they start doing their own events, then that's where you can really see some growth. I'm not saying that they separate from their upline and they don't do anything with them, but like their own Juice Plus events where they're inviting to it, and then you're going to get new team that they start coming to yours, and that's where you start building your little circle of people. But I think that's a big one, is are you willing to do the event? It's hard at first. I understand that. It is, you don't know what you're doing. Not that much. You know more than you think you do, but just do the work, just do the activity, and it's going to pay off.
Awesome. Let's have some more people ask questions.
Stacey, what would you suggest if you're an introvert? Because I'm such an introvert. It's really, really hard for me to just open my mouth to say anything to anybody. What's your suggestion on that?
Just do it. Like, you're going to get more comfortable with it, and you don't have to be an extrovert all the time, and you don't have to be an introvert all the time, right? So we kind of tend to label ourselves, you know, your strengths. So where I'm fueled by people, my husband is not. He's drained by people. And so he can play the part, like he can be around people and have interactions, and, you know, he can be there, but he's going to need more downtime. So just know that that's probably for you, where I would say, I need to be refueled. Hey, let's have some people over. Like, that would totally not make sense to you, right? So you're going to have to find, what do you need to do to refuel? And then you've just got to make sure you build that into your life. So, you know, time away for yourself, turning off your computer or your phone to where you're not having anything else come in, time to read a book to decompress. Like, find what that is for you, so that when you need to be on, you can be on. And then when you're needing to refuel, you know what that looks like, and you give yourself permission to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stacey, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I have two different people who, one was a customer, she's not any longer, but her doctor was like, that stuff is awesome. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? And then I kind of lost touch with her. And then my husband's aunt, same thing. Her doctor is like, whatever you're doing, don't stop and thank your niece forever. Your blood has never looked better. So I want to reach out to those doctors, but I don't know them. I don't know what to say. I know the suggestion is always to read with a clinical research summary when you're talking to doctors, but I don't know them, and I want to come across from my heart, not salesy.
Oh, that's a good one. Are they
You can
local?
get back to me.
Yeah.
No, they're not. That's the thing. One is in like the Tampa area, and one is down in Miami at UM. And even right now, you can't just get in to see a doctor like you would have been able to. So I've been sitting on this for a few months, but now I kind of feel like I need to pull the trigger on something.
And do those people see that doctor regularly?
The one girl does not see the endocrinologist anymore, and my husband's aunt doesn't see her super regularly anymore. And then there's actually a gynecologist I want to reach out to as well.
Maybe just start with maybe a letter, like typing up a letter and mailing it, and then an email, and then a call. Like, it's going to be multiple exposures, but bring them back to the connection of the customer that you had, and remind them of the story, and just that you would like to share more with them, so that they, you know, for themselves. Like, I heard one of the doctors say, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Like, if he understands it, he's naturally going to start sharing it to others. I don't know. What do you think, Garrett? Do you have any advice for that?
I was going to say, what I think you should do is find out who the manager is of the office, the nurse manager.
Okay.
Contact them first, because they're always the direct conduit to the doctor. Doctors are always so busy that they don't usually have time. Like, I used to send letters to doctors, they'd never get them. So you have to connect with the managers, and then send them information, and you can use your story information, and they'll either share with the doctor or they won't, but that's usually the best approach. I've had some success with that, with different things now that I'm here, but yeah, so that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah, we forget about that. Thank you, Garrett. That's awesome. Okay, so Stacey, I have a couple questions. Oh, somebody else?
Yes, Darby, I have a question because I'm so at the opposite end of everything that you talked about, but it's so germane anyway to everything that I'm doing right now. But I have been single for about 15 years and my children are grown. So what do you have to say to those of us? I mean, we really do get selfish about exactly how we want to do things and when we want to do it. And so what would your wise word be for those of us that are single that really do need to focus on our business?
So would you say, like, what are some things you could do to meet new people? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that would be one. Because I don't even belong to clubs. I just go to work and I belong to my choir. And I'm like you. I'm 3 years into Aztec, and I don't know anybody in Aztec except for my neighbors.
So one of the things that I did when we moved, I could either set in my mind, I need to get customers and I need to get team members, and that would be where my head went. But instead, I said, I want friends. Like, I need people in my life, and I just want to make friends. And then I did things to, ask them to lunch, ask them to coffee, have people over for dinner, like service in other areas, volunteering for things where I would be able to be in conversations with people. So it was putting myself out there. And like you said, it's easy to get selfish with our time and say, like, these are the things I like and I want to go to bed at this time or whatever. So how can you break out of that and just know it's going to be worth it? But I said, how can I make friends? And then from that, we had meaningful conversations. I was able to ask questions. Juice Plus always came up. Stephanie is on here. Her kids, one of the girls had a birthday party. We had just moved here. Our girls were invited to it. I didn't just drop them off. I went into the birthday party with my teenage girls. First of all, I don't know people. I'm not just dropping off my girls at random people's houses. I didn't know Stephanie, but I went in and I stayed for part of the party. I got to know, like, everything looked fine. I felt comfortable leaving the girls. And so I left later. But in that conversation, she asked, what do you do? And that's another thing. What do you say when people say, what do you do? So Darby, if people ask you, what do you do? And you're going to say, I'm a teacher, that's where the conversation is going to go. If you say, I work in an office, like, I don't know, whatever your job is, that's where the conversation's going to go. Where do you want the conversation to go? I'm a mom of 3. That's where it's going to go. So I said, I'm a health and wellness coach. I think that's what I said. Stephanie, was that it? I help people simplify their nutrition. That's all I said. And she was like, She didn't say anything, asked maybe a question, and then we moved on in conversation. My goal was not to get a Juice Plus customer that day. I was meeting people. I was making a connection with someone. Stephanie reached out to me later because of a health crisis and came back to me and said, you know how you said you were a health coach? Could we sit down and talk? So she felt comfortable with me from that day. So what's your job? If you say that's what you do, that's where the conversation's going to go. You're going to start talking about what you teach and how long you've taught and where you've taught. If that's where you want it in that direction, by all means, take it there. Where do you want the conversation to go? Answer in a way that's going to take the conversation, at least at some point, to the health side of things. So having something when people ask you that, that's really key.
Stacey, since you were around when the duo probably was the only option, the red and the green fruits and veggies, and then the purple, the berries, was added later, tell me what you're recommending and, just the difference maybe for everybody so that they know what they want to recommend. And I think right now you're doing a push for just the duo, so that a whole family of 4 can get on with their kids and all that. So if you don't mind talking around that also before we
For sure. And the great thing about you guys in Florida is you can just say it's $105 a month for a family of 4 if they're sponsoring 2 of the kids. You don't have tax. You don't have to say plus tax. I missed that. So that's really simple. So I always say I recommend the trio. This is what our family takes. We also do the complete smoothies, and then we recently added the omegas a couple of years ago. So I shared that I take all of it. And in conversations, in leading with people, that's what I say when they ask, well, what would you recommend? So for years, that's what we've been doing. Most of the time, I get a trio order, and they'll either order the shake or the omegas, or just a trio. I was very rarely getting any fruit and vegetable only orders. I have a couple of them, but then, you know, just everything happened with COVID. People were losing their jobs, but they were, and in our industry here in this area is oil filled. So when people aren't driving, when people aren't flying, oil prices tanked, like lower than they've been in, I mean, within weeks, it's usually like a slow decline, and it just was like super high, and then it tanked. A lot of people lost their jobs here. A lot of people were without work, or their hours were drastically cut, but they're concerned about nutrition, and they've got more time to like think through things and watch videos or come on an event. And so I had a lot of conversations going, and I just thought, what if we were to focus just on the fruits and vegetables, like just putting information out there, a picture with just the fruits and veggies in our hand, having more conversations, putting out that. And I've gotten orders, I think I'm up to 6 now, of people I had conversations with that were interested in Juice Plus, but just felt it was outside of their budget to do the trio and the omega and the shake, or even just the trio, but they've been willing to do the fruit and vegetables. And so, and then one added the berries. She decided to do the berries, and then another one added the omegas. So just know, like, the entry point may be the fruits and vegetables, and that's get exposed to other products along the way. But I have found that in going back, just being intentional about sharing just the fruits and vegetables, and I can share that on my wall because, like, I'm known as the Juice Plus lady, right? Like, if somebody has been around me at all for very long, they know I'm about health and nutrition. So if you're brand new, I don't know if I would about it. You can look back on my wall and see what I did post. There was a picture of the capsules, the gummies, and the shake because of the kind of the promotion they're doing right now with the shake. But I got some private conversations back from that. But yeah, just meet people where they're at. You know, if they're not able to do the berries and the omegas, like if that's what we're leading with the quad all the time, it also, like, if you lose a customer, that's a big one to lose, right? To lose a quad, it's going to hurt more. It's going to feel like it's a lot heavier than if it was a fruit and vegetable order. It's going to affect your points different. So it's okay to have a group of all of them. And I was even just thinking, guys, like the Vineyard gummies, or sorry, the berry gummies, we used to call it Vineyard, berry gummies for a child is $12.25 a month, $12.75 a month. Like, people pay that just for elderberry gummies. Like, I just realized that yesterday talking to someone. I'm totally going to post about that. Like, they can get 10 berries and grapes versus 1 elderberry, probably for what they were paying for elderberry gummies that they buy in the store. So sometimes it's the price point, or it's just the entrance. Just get into the conversation where they can see that this is something that could be affordable for them too.
Right. That gets them in the community. You put them in the customer group. You keep exposing them. That's great stuff. Okay, well, thank you, Stacey. And oh my gosh, we're almost done for the day. I'm so sorry. But I figured you guys wanted to pick Stacey's brain for sure. Sandy. So when you go on a cruise ship or you go camping, you're still majorly in touch with us. And so can you just give us some vision that if we were to go on a trip, how is it that you're staying in touch? And how is it you're keeping in touch with your customers, things like that? In line with the
So hopefully today, because I'm having trouble with my internet connection, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I have this, and that's what I was doing now. I have this little notebook, and I divided into 3 sections. So this is basically my entire business. The front portion of it are my list of things I should be doing or I am doing. And then in the mid section is where I have like my events and my lists. So these are my list sections. So what I do is literally anywhere I go, it doesn't matter, I mean, what I pack, I mean, this is gonna fit in my stuff. So my whole business is run out of basically a notebook and my phone. We always talk about our long list. So probably once every couple of months, I print out my whole long memory jotter list, and I just go through and I make notes on it. And they're actually, I'm so crazy, I color coordinate them, so that's days of the week that I talk to people. So I just make notes on this, and I make the notes here. And, the May Madness was another thing that got me back into being more organized, is I just have the list. I know when I talk to people what I'm about. So if you go through, I don't know if you can even see them. Yeah, kind of. So I made little initials on there, like prospect follow-up. So PFU, or EI was an event invite, then a follow-up. So I know what I did and who I've done it with. So that's how I always try and keep my business very simple and on the run. So after my hard list gets too full of notes, then I'll enter all these notes. It may take maybe half an hour. So enter these notes into my master worksheet, print out again, and then I just keep it folded. So when I leave, I'm ready to go. This and this. Done. Does that answer your question?
I knew she had solutions for everything. Okay.
Not everything.
So if there are calls to be on, if there are orders that are going to ship, what do you do about that? Say you're going to the Bahamas or you're going to New York City, I wish, but
that was canceled. That was spring break. Yes.
Aww.
So shipments, I have in my phone, I use my alarms a lot. I don't know if you guys use them, but I have reoccurring alarms, like for my Zooms. I also have reoccurring alarms for things to do. So I have, for me, it's every Tuesday. I have JP shipments, and it comes up every Tuesday at 12:30 because that's when my daughter is napping, right, still. And I just, you can go into your phone or your iPad or whatever you have and just check in there and see, the company's so awesome. They give us 10 days notice to make sure that we have. So you can just look in there and see who's coming up. I also use my calendar a lot. Let's see if I can zoom in on this one. And it's color coordinated. So let me see. I think I have a couple people coming up this week. Let me see if I can show you someone. So here, let's see if I can see this. Yeah, so here. So I have a color coordinated calendar. So green is Juice Plus related. So that was Tuesday at 11 a.m. I know I'm checking I'm sorry, is it 11? It's backwards. So I'm checking my virtual office, and I have a strategy Zoom with the island ladies. That's reoccurring. That's an alarm in my phone and a calendar notice. So for some reason or other, if I miss the alarm, I always have it in my calendar to know what to do. The same thing with shipments. Let me do a quick shipment search. And I think this is something that I learned from Julie Herbst years ago. She says she puts everyone in her phone. So every single customer I have, it's once every 4 months. It's not that big of a deal. Just open up a calendar. I put ship, so I can always sort by ship, the name of the person and what they have. So once they have that shipment, so that's for actually the 20th, it's coming up. Once they approve that shipment, or if I change the shipment, I just buy it and I'll move it to the next date. So it's very simple when you use the little modification in the calendar. I don't put 57 things of Mariela's shipment. I just change it. So then I would open it up and I would change it to 4 months down the road. And then I would just know that Mariela's shipment's coming up. And I always have a 1 day, a 3 day, and a 5 day notice.
You're not letting that ship without their permission, right?
No, it's happened a few times, which I get so embarrassed by, but I try not to. Yes.
The worst feeling on earth, right? It's like, no. Now we've got to apologize and catch the
so
ship
scared
and get a credit if they want it. Okay, well, thank you, Sandy. I know we want to ask you more questions at a later time, but we're gonna go for now, you guys. And I thank you to Sandy and Stacey for contributing today and for you guys asking questions. You guys are awesome, and I hope this was helpful for you. And we'll keep trying to make it worth your time to get on the Lunch and Learn, to make sure that you're asking questions and chatting so you feel like you're a part of this and it's serving you. All right, guys, tonight is Got Fruits and Veggies. It's the Becoming event at 7. Oh my gosh, at 7:30 if you're a qualifying sales coordinator. There's a coaching. All of this is listed in Team Transformers. I don't think I put extra ones into Team Take Action, but so let me make sure I have this right. 7 o'clock is Becoming with Michelle, Nanette, and Nalani. Get on early. I'm sure that'll be full. 7:30, if you're a QSC and you didn't hear the coaching by Leanne Gordon and you want to, that's probably going to be recorded, so you might want to go to the other thing. That's at 7:30. Then 8, 8:30 is got fruits and veggies. I know Dana, Doug, and Katie is on that one. Then at 10, I shouldn't even try to do this. It's Lonnie and dang it, I can't remember. Janie, help me, people. But anyway, there's 4 people at 10 tonight. And I think that's it. And then tomorrow we have a Tower Garden Zoom at 2. So we've got a lot of things. I'll tell you who the other 2 people are for 10 o'clock. And you guys can ask whatever questions as we sign off too. Okay, 10 o'clock is Elena, because she lives in California. Janie lives in Montana. Kathy lives in New Mexico. And Lonnie lives here, but she wants to put her kid down first. So 10 o'clock, take advantage like Cynthia did. Cynthia's had some major success with getting her people on at 10, because she may have invited them to the 7, the 8:30, and then finally they got on at 10. So do what you can. All right, guys, have an awesome day.